I've been reading the Model Rail magazine, and in this one there's an article about super detailing a Class 86, which of course you know is something I'm very fond of. So that's all we'll be doing today. Well, here we are back on the workbench, and I've had an idea, having seen this photograph here, that I would like to try to create a model of an 86/0 subclass. Something like that one. So here I have Class 86 which I picked up off eBay. So the windows are a bit foggy, it's all a bit scratched, the pantograph's missing. So I'm going to try and repaint this, and I'll film it as I'm going along. Well, here I've got my 1:76 scale drawing of the Class 86, and what I've noticed, well, what you can easily see on the lower diagram here, they've got the FlexiCoil suspension, which was from the 86/2 subclass and onwards, but before that, the 86/0, they had this type of bogie without the FlexiCoil suspension. So part of the rebuild of this model will involve changing the bogies. You see, the Hornby model is this one, and we need to change it to look like this. So that's going to involve quite a bit of work. You see, the shock absorbers are in a different place, the other side of the springs. You've got this triangle thing in the middle instead of the 3 FlexiCoils, and you have a bit of pipe work going along the top there, which you don't have here. So I'm going to try and do all that. Okay, so here we go. The first thing I'm going to try to do is I'm going to cut along here and there and remove this middle bit. So we've got a hole there with the Dremel. Got the wood cutting attachment on here. Hope you can see what I'm doing. In we go. Okay, so I've cut as far as I can get with the Dremel without damaging more than I want to. So now we've got to just use the very sharp craft knife to just work away at this the last few bits that are holding it together. So there's a bit that, oh, there we go. So that must be nearly loose now. That end. That's nearly coming out. Let's try this end. There we go. There we go. It's out. Oh, there we go. So now we have, as you hope you can see, a hole. And let's just tidy the edges up with our knife. Very sharp knife. Okay. And looking on the diagram as well, we have to cut these 2 bits off so that at the top of the step, that's straight. That shock absorber's got to come off there, that shock absorber's got to come off there, and this, wherever is bit of pipe work, that's got to come off too. So again, using the very sharp knife and working very carefully, because I don't want to stab myself and I don't want to damage the bogie either. It's coming off. As you can see, I've got the blade in behind there, so it's coming together. Okay, so here we are with these bits of wire. bits of wire which have been just glued on there. I've done it to both sides, and I've fitted these, just glued them on the back, just bits of plastic card to be consistent with the diagram and also give it a bit of extra strength, because I have weakened it by cutting that big hole there. So now I have to make these triangles out of plastic card, and then I'm going to glue them on there like that. But these triangles are very fiddly, as you can see, and I've got to make 4 of them. I've made 1 so far, but it's just a matter of getting these little bits of plastic card and cutting them. I've got a sheet here. I'm going to cut a very thin strip off the edge there. I'm going to cut little bits off and then glue them together into triangles. And then to give that raised edge effect, I've got this very thin bit of square plastic card which I got from somewhere, I don't know where. So that's my job for the next few minutes. So I'm going to leave you while I get on with that. Okay, so got me all these new brake pipes, new little bits here. I've made my 4 triangles, which I'll glue on in a moment. What I've got to do now is some new shock absorbers. So got some bits of plastic of various diameters, so I'm going to put a wider diameter one and a smaller diameter one. So we'll just cut off a little bit of this one, like so, and a little bit of that one, like so. I'm going to glue them together. Like that. Then I'm going to put a little bit of this flat plastic just to top it off. There we go. Just let that set. If it turns out to be too long, I can just trim it a bit. So I've got to make 8 of those now. So back in a few minutes when I've done that. Well, the bogies are pretty much finished now. If this will focus close up. Got the new shock absorbers here and here. Got this triangular thing, which is actually a little bit oversized compared with the scale diagram, but I'm not splitting hairs. Then we've got this brake pipe. So I'm pretty pleased with that, to be honest. Pretty pleased with that. So I've done them both. Here's the other one. They just need painting now. Well, the next bit of modification we have to do, these flexi coils have got to come off. So here we go. This is yet again the wood cutting Dremel. Now a bit of work on the body. I've taken the pantograph off and I've taken the switch off and filled in the hole there. And the next thing is just to slightly fill these little gaps that they made for the flexi coils. So just a little bit of very thin plastic card. I'm just going to cut that to length, glue them in, and then smooth all this off. Well, now there's a bit of preparation to do. It's a very nice livery, this Caledonian, I think they call it saltire blue, do they? But it's numbered 86245, but I've already got 86245 in the guise of Dudley Castle. So we can't have two of them. So we're keeping Dudley Castle, and I'm sanding this down. I'm getting rid of the livery and I'm going to paint it, starting with some primer. And so it's a bit of the old sandpaper, just gently rubbing this down, getting it all nice and smooth, ready to paint. Well, it's had its coat of primer and it's about to go back to the paint shop again for a coat of blue, the paint shop being my garage. Well, there we are, a good dose of blue. Some of this tape I can pull off it now. Well, I've removed all the tape and I've just given the windows one coat. I've done that with a brush because it's very fiddly, got to go around the windows. It needs another coat, so I'm going to give it another coat of paint around the windows. Okay, well, I've been adding some details. Etched British Rail sign, the number 86033, the head code, and a coat of satin varnish. So I'm pretty pleased with that. I chose the number 86033 because that locomotive acquired the name Wulfruna in June of 1985. It had the name Wulfruna from June 85 to February 2004. Originally it was the locomotive was E3198, and it acquired the number 86033 in May of 1974 and kept that until June 1985 when it was renumbered 86433. Then in 1989 it was renumbered to 86633. But Wulfruna, you may or may not know, was the sister of King Edgar, who was the Anglo-Saxon King of England from 958 to 975 AD. And Wulfruna, because she became associated with royalty, acquired some lands. And this is where Wolverhampton has risen up. In the Domesday Book in 1086, the reference is Wulfruna's High Town, which is where Wolverhampton got its name. And that's the place which I hail from. In 1086, Wolverhampton had Wulfruna High Town had a population of 250. But you didn't want to know that. Well, I think overnight the gremlins have been, because look what's happened. We've got windows, we've got wipers, all the roof detail has been finished off. Pantograph, it's finished. So you know what this means, don't you? It's time to reassemble. Well, I've glued a little driver in there, number 1 end. So now we just pop this back on and we're ready to run.